Right now, we have a special guest. His name is Anders Holm, and he is a famous celebrity actor, well known from the show Workaholics, which he created and stars in, and he is selling a very special car on Cars and Bits. So with that, let's talk about the AMG wagon. Tell us about it.
I mean, I just took it to go get washed right now. And every time, without fail, someone you drive by goes like this.
Yep.
Yep.
Especially in that color.
Because they know.
If you know, you know.
The color is weird and crazy because you just don't see it. You see white, you see black.
Right.
You always see black interior.
Right.
Mine is red. Mine is the dark brown interior with black wood, which I just don't know if it exists outside of my car.
Right. So
to be honest,
talk me through. Start with what made you purchase the car in the first place. How long have you had it?
It's your fault. I was going to build. I've had it since 2019 or 2018. You know how the years never line up. But it is a 2019. I got it probably towards the end of the year. I was looking. I was going to build a Porsche Panamera because I just fell in love with the idea of how good it looks finally. Right. And I drove it and I was like, God, this feels nice. Yeah. But I never quit looking for the wagon because I just knew it was everything I wanted.
Right.
And so I was going to build one. And this was a time when like the supply chain was getting all jacked up and it was like, hey, if you want one, it's going to take 18 months, not 4 or 5 or whatever it usually was.
Right.
And so I just was like, I can't handle this. And so I wanted to build my AMG wagon. And then they kept being like, hey, green doesn't exist anymore. And I'd go, okay. Navy. And then they'd call and go, actually, navy doesn't exist anymore either. And I'm like, well, I don't want white. I don't want black. I don't even want the matte silver, which I think looks cool, but like just isn't me. And then I just kind of sat around waiting and looking. And then out of nowhere in Arcadia, red showed up. And I'm not even like ready for a red car. It's a lot, you know, but it's fun. And, the interior I hadn't thought of, that wasn't what I spec'd, but it actually looked better in person than I thought on like the, build your own car thing.
So what was the story? Was this a new car at the time or that they just ordered for stock, or was it a used car that someone had bailed out of, or?
Brand new, showed up on the lot. I called the day of or the day after and I'm like, is this someone's? And they were like, no. And so I had kind of a car guy looking for me, and I called him to call them.
That is a brave dealership ordering that color combination as a stock unit, really hoping that they find somebody for it.
I mean, you know how it goes. It must have been like a favor.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, we're going to give you all these, but we have this built sitting here and no one wants it because it's a station wagon. It's red and has ceramic brakes, which no one wants to order.
Right. Yeah.
But they look good with the red. The red and yellow looks good. So
take me through. So you've had the car now for 4, 5, 6 years. Why are you getting rid of it, and what is replacing it?
I never drive it because I'm always gone filming.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not gone that often filming, but I like to say I am. No, but I am out of the house or out of town for at least 6 months a year, working, and my car just sits there.
Yeah.
And I never really drive it. And I also just, I thought about getting rid of it earlier, and I got a Tesla. I got a Model S. And then I just was like, I can't get rid of it. I can't, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was me being like, yeah, but let's go electric. Let's do that. The user interface of Tesla's just so easy, but I would take it out on the weekend and I would just haul ass around corners, and like, it just feels good. You put it in Sport Plus and it kind of just, it's exactly what you want it to be.
Do you haul children around in this car? Do you have kids?
Yeah. I got 3 kids.
So you're using it.
Pardon. Yeah, I'm using it. I've even slept in it.
Wow.
And how many AMG wagon owners can say that?
Not many.
And by the way, did I sleep in it just so someday I could go on a podcast with Doug DeMuro and say I slept in it? Maybe. We gotta have 5-year plans. We gotta think these things ahead. But no, I'd seen your review of it and been like, well, if this dude's calling it the best car ever, I gotta get it, And to be honest, the Panamera, it just was less user friendly as far as like packing stuff in the back, and like it's wider, it's a bigger car.
Yeah,
it's way more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's not faster.
Right.
And it's, so I just started doing all the math and crunching the numbers and was like, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, so are you going to replace this car with anything, or is the Model S the replacement?
The Model S is the temp replacement. My wife also has a Rivian. So what I like to tell you is that I think it's very possible that the cumulative Doug score I had in my driveway,
pretty solid.
Probably better than anybody. You have the Rivian, you have the
unbeatable.
R1S. You have the R1S Rivian, the SUV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have the SUV, have the AMG wagon, and then have the Tesla S.
That's so true.
I'm in,
because those cars hit every category, which is they're fast and they're practical and they're luxurious. And most of the time, people only get one of them, but you have, for some reason, gotten 3. You've really run the gamut.
I'm redundant. Yeah, but we just, I like I said, I was gonna get rid of the wagon, but then I just couldn't. It's too fun to drive. I never tracked it like I thought maybe I would. But I was like, well, you got to buy new tires, okay? But the thing that really tripped me up is, I was like, I'm not buying a helmet. I'm not buying a helmet to go track this one time, and then I just have a helmet in the garage that people go, "What's that?" And I go, I tracked it one time.
But the helmet is sort of like the first step to the track day problem.
Yes.
You get a helmet, you're like, well, I got a helmet already. I might as well get a race suit.
That's how you become a degenerate.
You get right.
Maybe
Next thing you know, you got a car hauler and a trailer and all that stuff. Well, I'm excited for it to sell. I'm excited to see it on the site. Tell us what other interesting cars. Have you ever had interesting cars in the past, in your past life?
I haven't. I wouldn't call myself a car enthusiast. I'm not somebody who can name like the actual names of all the Porsches. You know what I mean? Like by year.
None
and all
of us
that.
can anymore.
It's okay. You just need to know one. It's 911.
I think we've
exactly. But I am an enthusiast. I am somebody I'm like a design person, and so, even as a kid, I can remember very specific cars, but yeah, I'm a Volvo guy. I've always been a Volvo guy.
The car in the show is actually relevant to your existence, the 740.
Yes, this is true. This is and I remember when we were developing Workaholics and we were like, oh, let's have like an old shitty car. And someone was like, what about those old cool Volvos? And I was like, I think those are too cool.
Yeah.
Let's go a few years ahead to this other body style that's not cool at all.
Right.
And let's have that be the car.
That's so true. The 240 is too cool. It has become a hipster icon. The 740 is indeed not cool. What was your first car?
My first car was a 1981 Pontiac Bonneville.
Wow.
So this was a hoopty that my mom drove through the 80s, and then I got when I was 16, and it was very old. I only had it for a few months before it crapped out, and then I got my dad's 85 Country Squire.
Oh, wow.
With wood
So
panel.
there was a wagon history here, the Country Squire to the AMG wagon.
Yeah.
How many people made that transition?
Not many.
I mean, it's kind of in the DNA. It's in the DNA. I have 2 older brothers. I think we went through 3 or 4 wagons between my dad and the 3 of us. We had a Mercury, but the Country Squire had like a 5-liter engine or something crazy.
Yeah. And a massive rear end and probably got 2 miles per gallon. Probably better about what you get in the AMG station wagon.
I'll tell you this, more people have slept in that than they have.
Yeah. People are still sleeping in
AMG wagons.
People are sleeping in that on the streets of LA right now.
I mean, there's no doubt. But whenever I see one go by, I'm like, the wallet opens. I'm like, do I just go buy that from that person?
No.
You know what I mean?
I promise you, I've done this myself, and I promise you the memory of the car is better than actually doing that experience again.
Right.
You don't want to go
smelling whatever 40 years of car smells like that's been actually lived in.
Right. Do you think that the electric cars are going to do it for you? You think they're going to be enough for you coming out of the station wagon with the big V8? You think you'll be happy with that?
It is definitely not as sensory, like it's not as fun, but it's still fast. It's just a different kind of sensory. It doesn't hit as many boxes when you floor it.
Right.
But like you can only floor it so often before you're like, yeah.
Right. That's what it does.
It's exactly. It's kind of a one-trick pony. But I guess my question is, would you consider something that's a little bit older, more design focused, but gives you that visceral like sports car, like is a very fun toy just to have like tucked in the corner for when you are home and you want something fun?
Yeah. I've thought about it, and part of me is too like forward thinking. Like I don't want like an old radio where you have to like push the button in for like the preset to slide.
You don't have to go.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't have to go to the 50s.
Well, yeah, but like I just I want a touchscreen now. Like I want all the stuff integrated, and so I also enjoy, as much as I enjoy like a classic look of a car, I don't mind like taking a swing on something new and being like, no, this is going to be a modern day classic. Right. Like I think the next car, we have like a cabin, and I need to get a car for the cabin, and maybe I bought a cabin to get a car for the cabin. The look of the new Volvo V90 wagon, like the cross country, I'm like, isn't this the best looking car on the road? What is happening?
Right. And that will get you back from wagon to wagon, and the circle will continue to complete itself.
I just think it's so sharp. If they made that electric, I think it would be my last car.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure the next generation will have some sort of plug-in hybrid component, and you'll be able to hop right back into a station wagon like you were intended to from birth.
He's a wagon man.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited for the AMG wagon to be on the site and to see what happens to it. I'm sad that you'll be selling it, but I have to assume someone very excited will be getting that color combination. It's a very, very special car.
Yeah, and I brought it to you. I brought it to Cars and Bid because I knew that people who would be on there would get it.
Right.
This isn't something you just throw on another website I won't name. You're welcome. Because they won't get it. They'll sit there and they'll go, oh, why isn't it a sedan?
Right. We are wagon
if it was a sedan.
We've sold so many AMG. I think my audience has always been into them because I've always had all these crazy wagons. And so I've always been like the wagon central. But
G-Wagon comes up. That's why
all the G-Wagons come up. But we have sold a lot of AMG station wagons, and deservedly so. They are some of the coolest cars on the road. And I'm sad you'll be getting out of yours. But I hope there is another wagon in your future.
I think there will be. And I just want to include this tidbit. The collapsible crate that comes with the wagon is still there.
Oh, nice.
Waiting for the buyer.
Nice.
That is the kind of thing to show that to their partner or wife or family that it's just a station wagon. That's all it is.
It's a practical car. You can convince them of that. And look how well it's been maintained. The guy still has the original collapsible crate. He's real.
Yeah, only 20,000 miles on it. So I had fun with it, but I never like really broke her in.
This is your chance to take it to a track day. Between when we're filming this and when the auction goes live, this is your opportunity to get on the track. We don't tell anybody.
Like, why are these tires bald? I don't know. That is weird.
We won't say anything to anybody, I promise.
Yeah.
Get that helmet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it, Anders, and we look forward to the auction.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Pleasure to talk with you guys. And fingers crossed on this finding a new owner who has as much fun as I did.
As much as you do, indeed.
Yeah.